What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this NBA 10-game slate. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you want to be entered into the $25 giveaway, please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite GPP play on the slate. There's a ton of them. If you guys would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/DGFantasy for more information. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on DraftKings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA 10-game slate. But you guys know we had some Patreon success again last night. This one was actually a pretty crazy takedown. So $40 turned into $1,900, $12 into $1,000. Placed first out of 980 people, $5 into 750. Got first out of 1.9k people. And again, guys, these 2-game slates are very tough. So congrats to all the Patreon members. We didn't have just him. We had some more success. $7 into 117. Got second place out of 178 people. And 60th out of 2.2k, and they just kept on going, cashing all these double ups and made some money here, and an MME contest. And we also had $286 turned into $776, and then also one takedown here, one lineup, also cashing some NHL success. We have an NHL chat as well in our Patreon chat, but yeah, success all the way around here. I also want to start out this video by prefacing it by saying Kevin Huerter, guys, is not a good play tonight. The thumbnail is an obvious joke. If you guys just looked at the thumbnail and played Kevin Huerter, well, you have other issues. $9,500 for Kevin Huerter tonight, an obvious mispricing on DraftKings. So do not start Kevin Huerter tonight. It's a joke, okay? Hopefully you guys can take a joke. All right, but let's go ahead and look at the injury report actually for the slate. Right now for Brooklyn, we have Claxton, Dinwiddie, and LeVert obviously out because he's been traded. Kyrie Irving is back, okay? So keep that in mind when looking at the Brooklyn Nets. Cleveland, we have Porter, Dellavedova, Kevin Love, and Windler all out. Garland and Sexton are technically questionable. That will shake up things in Cleveland if one of those guys are ruled out. With Dallas, we still have Finney-Smith, Kleber, Powell, Richardson out. With Indiana, we have LeVert still out, obviously. Turner, game time decision, Sampson, and also Lamb. If Turner is held out, that will definitely shake up things in Indiana. Also, Warren is still out. With Boston, we have Edwards, Langford, Tatum out. Philly, not too much going on there. With Miami, we have Tyler Hero, who's questionable. Jimmy Butler still out, Leonard, and Bradley. So that definitely is something to be paying attention to as the day goes on. With Orlando, we have Fournier, Aminu, Mo Bamba, Carter Williams, all out for them. So that definitely does shake up things. We'll take a look at them here in a little bit. With Minnesota, we have Hernan Gomez, Rubio, and Towns all out. So that definitely does shake up things in Minnesota. With Phoenix, we have Jones, Saric, Smith out. That doesn't really change the picture too much. With Houston, we still have John Wall out. We have to take a look at some of these players. I have my eye on a couple of them here at the top. With San Antonio, all the bench players are out. Really doesn't affect them too much, but I will take a look at them because it is a pace-up spot for them. With Golden State, nothing going on except for Wiggins. Wiggins is questionable. If he is held out, that is huge. We'll take a look at the Golden State Warriors here in a little bit. With Whiteside, or with Sacramento, Whiteside is out. Bagley is probable. Not too much going on there. If Whiteside is held out, it should only impact Bagley just a little bit in terms of minutes. With the Clippers, Lou Will is questionable. Keep an eye on them. And then last but not least, the Memphis-Portland game, probably the most intriguing game to look at with all the value. Memphis is in a pace-up spot there without Jackson, Porter, Valanciunas, and Winslow. That definitely does affect things. We'll take a look at them here in a little bit. With Portland, Zach Collins, McCollum, and Nurkic are all out, so that does shake up the picture with Portland as well. Now let's go ahead and go game by game. With Brooklyn, like I said, we have at the top, Kyrie Irving is playing, or he should be playing. You never know with him, right? $9,000 is a little too pricey, especially with these usage hogs of James Harden and Kevin Durant on the floor. Don't want to touch these guys until we figure out what the usage rate does look like. All of these price tags should be coming down with maybe the exception of James Harden. But again, guys, these price tags are way too high for my liking, especially in a pace down matchup against Cleveland. DeAndre Jordan is somebody that does intrigue me. We saw him play about 33 minutes. He is the only true center on this roster, and it looks like they're going to treat him that way. So again, he played 33 minutes in his last last matchup? 38 actually. Okay, so he played 38 minutes. Thought he only played 33. My mistake. But right now he's projected at 27 minutes, so I do think all of the projections are off on him. I think he's actually a very good play if he does get those minutes, which he should. Again, being the only true center on this roster with James Harden, an assist monster. When you have a big man like DeAndre Jordan, think back to the Clint Capella days. Huge opportunity here for DeAndre Jordan. I think he's still going to be underpriced. I think as long as he plays over 30 minutes a game, he should see a price increase upwards of about 7K. He's putting out that type of output. Switching over to Cleveland, not going to touch these guys. Way too many guys on their roster right now. They are in a pace-up spot, but there's way too much pending injury news. If these guys are rolled out, we'll take a look at them before lock on our live stream. Going over to Dallas, Doncic is still playing very well. The last game, he had a setback game. It was a very good defensive battle here between Toronto and Dallas, and has another bad matchup here. 10.7K with a lot of these guys back, including Porzingis. I'm not too high on him. He's only a good play in bigger tournaments, but again, the 218.5 is one of the lowest over-unders on the entire slate, so not too much interest here in Dallas. Switching over to Indiana, we are still monitoring the Miles Turner news. If he is held out, that will shake things up, but right now, nobody really interests me. Like I said, we're going to be paying attention to the Miles Turner injury. Not going to break these guys down until we hear that news a little bit later on in the live stream. With Boston is still without Tatum, Langford, and Edwards, so that does give a slight boost here to Jaylen Brown. $8,700 is probably the only guy that I do like. Everybody else is just so priced up. Marcus Smart at $6,500. Kemba Walker, $6,500. He's only projected at 23 minutes. Until he gets that minute increase, I'm going to be off of guys like Kemba Walker and both of these centers here with Tristan Thompson and also Daniel Tice, $5,100 and $5,000 respectively. Not too high on these guys as well. So I know it's a pace-up spot. If you want to take a stab at Jaylen Brown and tourneys, I don't mind that. I think he's an interesting tourney target, but outside of that, no obvious cash options. Switching over to Philly, all these guys are priced up just like Boston. Joel Embiid's $9,600, Ben Simmons $9,100, Tobias Harris $7,200. And again, all these guys are back, so I don't like these guys outside of the tourneys. I know it's very boring so far, the breakdown on the slate, but all these guys you kind of want to avoid and cash are not obvious. They're not going to stand out on our sheet, and they're just not a good point per dollar player as of right now with all these guys back. Now looking at Detroit. Detroit is without Frank Jackson and Hayes, obviously still. Jeremy Grant is averaging 1.28 fantasy points per minute so far this season without Killian Hayes. For what it's worth, he is a 5.6 point per dollar value on their sheet. $7,700 seems on the surface as a very expensive play, but he's playing 35 minutes and it's in a pace-up spot. I actually do like Jeremy Grant. If you're gonna fall on him as one of the last pieces, I don't mind him for cash. I do like him more for GPPs just because of that price tag. He's going to be very low owned, I do expect. They're projected to score 108 points, which is technically a pace-up spot for the Detroit Pistons, and I don't mind him here in the spot. Other than that, Mason Plumlee does intrigue me a little bit. A 5.7 point per dollar value. Does not have the best matchup against Clint Capella, but like I said, pace-up spot for all these guys. Mason Plumlee and Jeremy Grant stand out the most for me on this team. With Atlanta, we have Kevin Huerter, my favorite play. Just kidding, guys. $9,500. Here's the proof if you guys haven't looked at the slate yet. Absolutely crazy price tag. Please avoid him. Please don't play him ever if he's anything over $5,000. Clint Capella, though, realistically is my favorite play on the team. $7,600, 5.7 point per dollar value. Who averages 1.23 fantasy points per minute with these injuries off the court. Talking about Gallinari, Bogdanovic, and Dunn, and has been one of the best producers offensively on this team, other than Trae Young. So do like him. Projected right now at 43.16 points, and he does have a favorable matchup here versus Mason Plumlee. Also, Cam Reddish does stick out a little bit. He is questionable. If he is held out, that will definitely impact the picture as well. We will pay more attention to them as the day goes on. As the slate goes on, we start to get to some more intriguing picks here, specifically from the Miami Heat. Miami Heat are without Jimmy Butler, Bradley, and also Leonard. Tyler Hero is questionable. If he is held out, that gives me a tremendous amount of more intriguing value here for the Miami Heat. I do like Goran Dragic for tournaments, a 5.9 point per dollar value. Let's actually take a look at the usage rate here. He averages 1.05 fantasy points per minute without Jimmy Butler, Leonard, and Bradley off the court. And he also gets a 28.8% usage rate. That's partially because he's coming off the second unit, but it doesn't really matter if he's projected at 32 minutes. I don't care how he gets those minutes as long as he's scoring me points, right? So the second highest usage rate on the team, and also Bam Adebayo without Jimmy Butler on the court has always killed it for some reason. 1.5 fantasy points per minute, a 31.1% usage rate And I do like him right now. He's a 5.8 point per dollar value. I have him projected at 49.5 fantasy points. I know this is a good defensive battle, but Toronto has been lacking defensively to start the season. So Bam Adebayo and also Goran Dragic do make for some very intriguing tournament plays. Tyler Hero, if he is held out, I love them even more. We will pay a visit to them if he is pulled. Switching over to Toronto, what a beast Boucher has been lately. Alex Len has officially been waived, so it looks like they're going in the Boucher direction going forward. If he's going to be playing over 30 minutes, I'd consider him a near lock as long as he's below 8K. He averages 1.46 fantasy points per minute since Alex Len has been off the court and whenever Boucher has started or played. 7.3K, I have him projected right now at 41.18 fantasy points per minute. Definitely a beast here. 5.6 point per dollar value. I really do like him. Also, Kyle Lowry of $7,600 is an intriguing price tag. Playing 36.25 minutes right now and a 5.6 point per dollar value. So overall, I like the price tags on these guys. Even Fred VanVleet at 7.5K, a 5.3 point per dollar value, and Siakam at $8,000. So one of these guys will have a ceiling game. They should anyway against a depleted Miami team. It's just a matter of selecting which ones. If you land on one of these guys as a last minute spot in cash, I don't mind that. All these guys average between 1 to 1.2 fantasy points per minute, except for Boucher, who averages 1.46, which is actually crazy to think about. But again, all these guys are very good options. I really do like them for tournaments. All their ownerships should be relatively low. Looking over at Orlando, they are in an obvious pace-up spot. There's only one guy I really want to pay attention to, and that is Vucevic. $8,600, playing 33 minutes, and he averages, let's actually take a look at the usage chart, 30.2% usage and 1.51 fantasy points per minute without all these injuries on the court. The highest usage, most fantasy points per minute, and a pace of spot. I think he's an obvious play, and I consider him cash viable for sure. $8,600 might scare away a lot of people, but again, against Minnesota without Karl Anthony Towns, he should feast tonight. He absolutely should. They don't have a Vegas projection on the amount of total points they should score, but it should be in a pace of spot for the Orlando Magic. You can also take a stab here at Aaron Gordon. Don't like his price tag as much as I do Vucevic. Averages 1.09 fantasy points per minute, and he's only projected at 33 minutes as well. So if you kind of compare the two, statistically, Vucevic should outperform Gordon. Looking over at Minnesota, all these entries off the court with Towns, Rubio, and Hernan Gomez. It does give a boost the most to D'Angelo Russell. $8,800, 43.56 fantasy point production, and a 5 point per dollar value. I do like him. His price tag is a little too much though, just because of the amount of volume and just the amount of playing time he should get today. That's the only reason I like him. It's a bad matchup. It's a pace down spot. If he is going to be chalky, I consider him bad chalk. Just again, D'Angelo Russell's just not the best shooter. Other than that, I do prefer the Orlando side a lot more. Malik Beasley is another option if you want to take a stab. A 6.9K price tag, not too bad there. Let's move on to Phoenix. There's some interesting value here from Cameron Johnson, 3.9K. I don't have their chart pulled up. A 6.2 point per dollar value. He averages over a fantasy point per minute, so I do like him. Playing in 27 minutes. I'm sorry, he averages just under a fantasy point per minute. 0.94 to be exact. Mikal Bridges, a 5 point per dollar value. Chris Paul, at 7.2 point per dollar value. These guys are interesting for tournament plays, but don't like them for cash. For cash, though, in Houston, I love my favorite play on the slate. Talked about him on the stream last time. The last time we saw Oladipo's team, it was on the Indiana Pacers about 2 years ago without Malcolm Brogdon. He had all the usage. And I think that we're going to see something similar going forward with the Houston Rockets. I think this is Oladipo's team. He's the best player on the team, other than maybe Christian Wood. But usage-wise, Oladipo should have the ball in his hand a majority of the game. That being said, 7.8K is really cheap for somebody like Oladipo, where he's garnering, let's actually take a look at this, a 42.1% usage rate. I know it's only in 32 minutes. It was only in the first game. Average 1.69 fantasy points per minute, but we should see something similar to that usage rate, probably, a couple percentage knocks off of it going forward. I think he's a fantastic play and a pace-up spot here versus Phoenix. Both of these teams kind of stink, so I do like Oladipo. Playing 33 minutes is what he's projected at right now because he got 33 minutes in his first game. Should see an uptick going forward, and I like him. He's actually one of the best value plays on the slate. 7.8K, one of my favorite options just in general, overall plays anyway. Christian Wood's also not that bad of a play. 8.4K, averaging 1.49 fantasy points per minute, a 5.7 point per dollar value. I like him and Oladipo Oladipo as well. One of them should have a ceiling game, so if you want to take a stab at one or the other, I'm going to be taking a stab at the cheaper one, which is Oladipo. Based on what he did last game, definitely like him. Eric Gordon's also not that bad of a choice here. 5.4 point per dollar value, a 5.5K price tag, and averaging just under a fantasy point per minute to start the season. Looking over to my Spurs here, nothing really stands out too much. All their price tags got a price decrease. DeMar DeRozan at 8.5K is probably going to be my favorite option. This is a pace-up spot for the Spurs, so DeMar DeRozan is going to be my favorite option. You take the best player on this team against a pace-up spot here, Golden State Warriors. We know that Steph Curry is not the best defensive player, so I do prefer DeMar DeRozan. DeJounte Murray will have a favorable matchup. All these guys I do like, I just don't love them. One of them should have a ceiling game. It's just about determining which ones. Again, all of these injuries for the San Antonio Spurs don't really impact these guys. They don't really give that much of a minute boost. They are on a tighter rotation, so DeMar DeRozan playing 35 minutes is probably conservative if this remains close. So that being said, DeMar DeRozan, DeJounte Murray are my favorite options here from this team. With the Warriors, Steph Curry is always a GPP option. This game is slated to be competitive. It's only a 1-point favorite right now, 1-point spread with the Golden State Warriors because they are playing at home. 35 minutes is what we have Steph Curry projected at. 9.7K. Always a fantastic GPP play. If Andrew Wiggins is held out, I'm going to be more interested in guys like Oubre, Draymond Green, also Steph Curry, because they're going to be shooting more shots in this game. But again, if he's held out, we're going to be taking another look at that once we get on the live stream. Hopefully we get that injury news before lock. We probably won't. With the Sacramento Kings, not too much to be said here. All their prices do make sense. Harrison Barnes is coming down price tag. 6.3K, has been in a bit of a slump after I've been talking about him all season long. Value-wise, Rashawn Holmes at 6.4K, playing 34 minutes, a 5.7 point per dollar value. Not that bad of a price tag. Probably my favorite play on this team. Bagley, if he does play, and without Whiteside, I do like him. Should be playing about 30 minutes or so, closer to 36 it looks like, when Hassan Whiteside is out. So that's very appealing. I do like him here against the Clippers. I know the Clippers are a decent defensive team, but I have more interest in the Clippers side. They are playing against the Sacramento Kings. We know the Kings play absolutely no defense whatsoever. So that gives a bump to guys like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, obviously the two highest usage rate guys on the team. If Lou Will is held out, I do like Patrick Beverley playing about 32 minutes. Same thing with some of their backup guards. And also we had Ibaka randomly ruled out last game. We saw what Zubac could do when given minutes. So I do like him if Ibaka is ruled out. I think Ibaka is playing though. That being said, Kawhi Leonard and also Paul George are my favorite two options here from this team in a pace-up spot versus defensively Sacramento Kings. And then last but not least, the Memphis Grizzlies, who have the best value on the entire slate. Xavier Tillman is getting a minute boost. He's getting a usage boost without Valanciunas on the floor. $3,500, a near bottom of the barrel price tag. Should crush value, playing 28 minutes, averaging just about a fantasy point per minute. I think he's literally averaging a fantasy point per minute at an 8 point per dollar value. Brandon Clark, also not that bad of an option, a 5.9 point per dollar value. 6K price tag, should be playing more minutes in this game with the absence of Valanciunas. 32 minutes is what he's projected at right now. Ja Morant averaging 1.24 fantasy points per minute. I know we haven't really seen him play full minutes yet, but this game in particular, we have him projected at 33 minutes, a 5.7 point per dollar value. I know a lot of people are going to be talking about Ja Morant today. I think he's going to be more on the chalky side. So load up on the Grizzlies for chalk. And then also Kyle Anderson is a sneaky GPP option in my opinion. A 5.7K price tag. 28 minutes is what he's projected at right now. Averages over a fantasy point per minute and a 5.3 point per dollar value. And then also switching over to Portland, we have Nurkic and also McCollum out with the addition of Zach Collins. Those guys off the floor gives a slight boost to guys like Canner. Canner got a heavy price increase last slate, and because of that, I'm more off of him. He's still a 5.2 point per dollar value. Don't mind him. He should have a very good matchup. Derek Jones, a 6 point per dollar value at 4K. Actually, without those guys on the court, he averages close to a fantasy point per minute. It's about a 0.88. So don't hate him. For the first time, I don't hate him. Like I said, this is against a depleted Memphis front court, so I do like him here in this matchup specifically. Damian Lillard averages 1.5 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the floor. If he's playing 39 minutes, which is what he's projected at right now, a 5.1 point per dollar value and a 10.4K price tag. So definitely got a heavy price increase. Don't hate him, don't love him. I think he's just a solid play against this team. I do prefer the Memphis side for cash, and that will wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.